Here we go. What is going down, everyone? It's time for the Hype, episode number 161, and we have a special guest today coming up. We're going to be interviewing Cardcollector2. He's got 40,000 followers on Instagram. We talk about his life as a card shop owner. We talk about the basketball hobby, lots of stuff. So great interview coming up later in the show. We're going to talk a little bit about Rob Kardashian. Yeah, Rob Kardashian. And we're going to kick off the show talking about Prizm WNBA. Dan, what's going down?
What's up? You said you always have a special guest on the show. You have me and C-Rad. What's up?
True. I am fortunate to sit next to you guys.
We're special.
You guys are hosts. You're not guests.
Oh,
it's not my show.
I thought it was your
too.
show. We're just here. We're supporting cast.
Supporting cast.
We're like the Rondo. You're LeBron James.
C-Rad, how do you back up your Tom Brady talk from last week?
Tom Brady?
Yeah.
Never
I was pulling for you, man. I really was. Not more like to see the Tom Brady lose.
Man, I hate Tom Brady, bro.
I didn't really watch the game because it was on the same time as my game, but I kept seeing the scores, and I felt for you, man. I was like, man, what the heck? In Vegas?
How'd you keep engaged in that Niner Patriot game?
Yeah, it was
Couldn't
phenomenal.
just take a
from the
nap.
beginning.
It was a terrible game.
Well, for one, it was National Tight End Day, and
I think National Tight End. It's like every week is like National Tight End Day.
No,
I'm
just this week
Pretty
was.
sure it was the previous week as well.
No, just one
George
week out of
Kittle
the
just
year.
makes up holidays now.
Well, that's how special he is. He's the best in the league.
Nothing wrong with silver or bronze.
But we got some exciting stuff. We broke 2 breaks of Prizm WNBA and a lot of buzz. We had a lot of new collectors in the chat that were chasing the WNBA stars, and it is the inaugural release of WNBA Prizm. And as you know, if you're collecting cards, Prizm is the pinnacle of collecting. The #1 rookie card is Prizm. So you're starting to see Sabrina Ionescu, who's got her first card from Oregon, also mentored by Kobe. She's in here, so she's probably the bigger name out of the gate for rookies. But you're getting the first Sue Birds. You're getting the first Diane Taurasi Prizms. So it's got quite the buzz. And I wanted to talk to C-Rad. You know, you're the Prizm king around here when it comes to basketball cards. Talk a little bit about Prizm WNBA and what do you think that its future may hold?
I think in terms of, I think we all understand in terms of like the especially where the hobby has been going. We know that the first Prizm anything is more valuable, and we've seen that even with basketball with the 12-13 Prizm product line. So if obviously I support it, and I love to see it. More women NBA products is a great thing. So being the first Prizm, I think maybe people may not appreciate it right now that it's just been released and nobody really knows what to make of it, especially if you don't watch the WNBA as much. But down the line, I see it being like one that people are going to be like, I wish I got her first Prizm, or whoever it is, the rookie or vets.
Yeah, I mean, because essentially you could look at it a couple different ways. Like obviously Sue Bird's been in the league for almost 20 years, but it's her first Prizm. So is that going to be viewed as a Sue Bird Prizm rookie card? So it'll be interesting to see. And it seems like, with Prizm WNBA compared to the NBA products, there's not at least that we know of, there's no choice or a fast break or whatever they call it. There's not a lot of different parallels. So in the morning, I know I hit a gold auto and a black gold parallel in just a half case. So it seems like the colors are going to be a little bit more. I mean, obviously 6 boxes is a small sample size, but
I think that makes sense, right? Because from what we understand over the summer, production on it was cut.
Mm-hmm.
So I was telling people this past week, I was like, the thing you guys got to understand is that I think WNBA Prizm might be actually pretty loaded, like you just said, in terms of colors and low-numbered parallels, because of the fact that Panini, for some reason, they told distributors straight up like they weren't able to make as much as they wanted to. So
exactly.
Yeah, I mean, this could be a good product to speculate on as well. I mean, if you did get a case at a pretty good price, not a bad idea to store it, hold it for a couple years. I think this hopefully will be a release that Panini does every year. I hope they don't do multiple different variations of it.
Right.
Let's just keep it hobby and retail SKUs. But I would like to see that. I don't want to see the choice and the fast break and all that stuff. Let's keep it simple with this release. Also, let's like not flood the WNBA category with releasing like encased and certified and like illusions. Like, let's keep it kind of similar to what they're doing with racing, and let's keep it like 5 to 6 SKUs throughout the year and make it a good 5 to 6 SKUs.
Yeah, and we want to know from you guys watching the video either on Mojobreak Media or live in our chat. We want to know, who are you collecting from this set and who is intriguing to you to collect? Obviously, Ionescu got hurt in a exhibition game, and her season ended earlier than we expected. So there probably would have been a lot more buzz going into this, because once they announced this product, Sabrina had just got drafted, and it was, you know, huge news. The next Zion or next LeBron is going to be Sabrina. So
and it was supposed to come out way earlier this year, right?
Yep. And I think they announced it. Was it right around the prior to the pandemic, so right at the beginning of the Zion hype. So, you know, basketball was really the focus of the hobby, and then with the WNBA sprinkled in it definitely created the buzz for this product.
I want to say it was like June. I think we were already here at this location.
Okay.
So it was June, and I think it did get pushed back about a month. I don't know. I mean, you know what I wish? I wish there was a WNBA team in the Bay Area.
Yep.
I think there's the LA Sparks, there's the Las Vegas Aces, Seattle has a team. That's pretty much it for West Coast.
Yep.
So I'd love to see a San Francisco, Oakland, San Jose.
Oakland needs that team.
Oakland, yeah. And I don't know. I don't see chat on my phone, so I don't know if there's the features not checked off again for that, but maybe we can look into that. So if you have any comments and you're getting prevented, if not, comment on the video. It's going to be posted on Mojobreak Media. But I wanted to... what do you guys think? I mean, do you think that any of these rookies for the WNBA could reach close to Zion prices? Do you think Ionescu, obviously probably have to wait for her to play, but could it be like, man, her silvers are going for 1,000 or her silvers are going for 500? Do you think that it could reach? It could have that reach?
I think we're gonna have to wait and see. Maybe 5 years down the road, we'll know for sure. Mm-hmm. But out of the gate, it would be pure speculation and guess right now.
Yeah.
But it could. We saw with was it 12-13 Prizm, first year of Prizm? I mean, look at common cards.
Yeah.
From that release. So,
and NASCAR, right? NASCAR Prizm.
And NASCAR.
2018 was the first year, so I think some of those boxes are crazy because it's the first one. And then World Cup Prizm from 2014, forget about it. I mean, it's insane. But I wanted to get into this story that TMZ broke. Rob Kardashian is involved in the sports card hobby. This list of celebrities is starting to pile up in our hobby, which is a good thing. It's bringing more attention to our hobby. There's a couple things I want to talk about here. I think TMZ missed the mark on how much the card is actually worth. Obviously, TMZ is a wow factor website, and they didn't say it. They said could be worth $250K. So this was done at the Bullpen. Shout out to Mitch and Ty. They were doing an Instagram at 3 a.m., and Rob bought a case of Mosaic Choice and I think a couple other things. And he hit the Nebula 1/1 Tom Brady.
Beautiful.
Which TMZ claims is worth a fortune. Watch the guy opening the packs for Rob at the card shop, immediately knows he got a banger and loses his mind. We spoke with some experts who told us card could be worth anywhere from $50,000 to $250,000, depending on its condition. That's like saying, hey, that card's worth anywhere from $1 to $2 million. It's somewhere in between there.
That's my line, though. That's my line. Or you could always go with the I don't know.
Yeah, the I don't know is a safe bet.
I don't know is a safer bet than, anywhere between like 50 grand and $1 million.
He also hit a Justin Herbert black gold parallel number to 8, which could be worth around $6,000.
That one is worth more than the Brady, I would say.
I would think so, too. The two autographs could also fetch $5K a piece, which I believe they were just base autos. So... TMZ.
I think there might be a zero that's added to that.
I don't blame TMZ too much. They don't know yet. They're new to the game.
But that Tua auto, $500.
Nah,
the Tua,
yeah,
it's about
500.
5 to 1,000. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, it ain't 5K.
Not 5K.
No, not
I
5K.
remember we
No.
added a zero. We added a zero on every card, or
Yeah.
or a multiple zeros.
And the 2 Burrow Fusion red rookie cards could also be worth a few thousand each. So, in the next slide here, we have some of the Nebulas that have sold. There was a Lamar Jackson that sold for $15K. The rest of them are all best offers. Deshaun Watson, $2,500. Jordan Love, $7,000 best offer. Larry Fitzgerald, blah, blah, blah. But then there was this that actually sold. So it was a hobby black prism of Tom Brady that sold for $5,500. Now it's a Buccaneer one. Nebulas do garner a little bit more attention than the black.
Yep.
But
And-
this is more realistic. We ain't getting $250K for a one-of-one Nebula card unless you really, really love Rob Kardashian and Tom Brady together, and it makes it priceless for you, I guess. I just want to say, I know TMZ is all about getting the clicks, but
It's
us
clickbait.
as hobbyists, we know that
my
card's not
my
worth that
concern
much.
though is that it's a slippery slope when you start throwing out those ridiculous prices for multiple reasons. I mean, some people may look at that and go, I'm going to quit my job and I'm going to start opening up Mosaic football.
Yeah.
If I can open up a case of cards and get, $250,000, even though it's not $250,000, it's actually $5,000. It starts getting, it's almost like you're a snake oil salesman. You're just lying about what the price is.
Yeah,
and TMZ isn't going out there maliciously like. They're not Beckett. They're not a price guy. They're not eBay. They don't know what these are. They're looking for clicks.
Yeah.
You got to remember that everything's going to be blown out of proportion. They want clicks.
But you're right, though. I mean, somebody that's new into this looks and they said that in the story they said they think he spent around $10K, and then you add this all up, you're like 250, 10. You're like, he made $300,000. You just made $290,000 in one night of opening cards with somebody on Instagram.
And then say you're lucky enough to pull the gold, right? You're all, well, the 101 is worth $250, so the gold has to be worth at least $50,000, right?
Right.
Well, it's not.
It's not.
It's not.
Not. And it's
So-
Tom Brady's 18th year card. I mean, it's and
let's-
it's an insert, which usually doesn't.
First Mosaic, though.
Let's pump the brakes with throwing out crazy. We don't talk about value on our live feed. Let's pump the brakes with the value and the crazy numbers. I mean, let's chill out.
And like I said-
there's no problem with saying I don't know. I don't know. Just say I don't know. How much is it worth?
It's whatever
worth-
somebody
it's
wants
worth
to pay.
Whatever somebody's willing to pay for it. I don't know.
And that's the thing. You know, a lot of people are also misunderstanding that. Say you pull what appears to be a $10,000 card from a break, you still have to find a guy that is going to give you $10K. You can't take that card, go to a bank, and they give you $10K. It's not that easy. And then you got to ship it and hope it gets there on time. You got to hopefully hope that FedEx is or whoever you use doesn't, there's a lot of factors that go into you receiving 10K. And then if you're selling it on PayPal, you might as well take 2K right off the top in fees and all that other stuff, right? So it's not like, it's almost like on Storage Wars where Daryl would be like $40 bill, $50 bill. It's like, yeah, those are going to go into your store and they're going to sit there for 5 years before you sell them.
Can't go to a Tessie dealership and hand them a Tom Brady card and you walk out with a Tessie
No,
whip.
not
That's
gonna happen.
You're like, this card's worth $50,000. I'm taking that car right now.
Would be awesome,
But you can't do it. You can't do it.
So, I mean, and then you look
Not
at
yet.
you look at some of the Tuas. A 1-of-1 Tua sold for 20, but the bases are anywhere from around 1,000 to 1,500. So obviously they were way off on all of their numbers. It is clickbait. They reported this morning. TMZ site's so crazy I had to go like third page to find it. I mean, it's like already like just buried down there. So, but
That's a crazy spike in the Tuas out of the gate, though, because I look at that card and where's Mosaic rookie autos going to stand in the rookie autos that you want to collect throughout the year? Is it going to be a top 10?
yeah, exactly. Once Prizm comes out,
I mean, it's a great card, but I think it's, in my mind, I value it like a $500 rookie auto.
what do you think, C-Rad? Once Prizm, we got contenders. I mean,
Optic.
what do you think Mosaic stands in the grand scheme of things?
The base or the auto?
The auto.
The
Let's
auto.
go with the
Auto?
auto.
Which they are a little bit more rare because there's only 2 of them in
Yeah,
a box,
that's
right?
the point I was gonna make. Because we open up so much Mosaic.
But they are stickers as well.
They are stickers. But they are pretty tough to pull. You got to factor in the first Mosaic thing. Yeah, I'll say a top 10 rookie card maybe, top 15, top 10, maybe top 10, top 15 maybe.
Yeah,
Just because of how difficult they are to hit.
Yeah,
Yeah.
And it's a Prizm product. I'm thinking of that. Like again, and if it wasn't a Prizm product or the first Mosaic, I'd be like, no, it wouldn't even matter, right? Like some of these products that come out like that are just like filler products for football that you get a 2 or you can get a 2 or bro, and it's nice, but it's not going to be one of the main autos that you want every single year, right? As a PC collector.
Top 15 doesn't get you on the podium, bro.
No, it doesn't.
So I understand I understand why they're maintaining their value or even the value going up on them. I just I don't know long term where it's gonna stand.
Well, right now is the time that I was telling everybody last week. It's time to sell your Tua. This is like, if I had a bunch of Tuas that I was sitting on, I would be selling them. Have the auctions ending right now, going into Sunday. I think his value is higher right now than it's gonna be come next week and maybe the following.
Yeah, because I know he's number 1, but I think by the end of the game he's going to have a 99 imprinted on his jersey. So, I'm a bunch of grass stains too.
I'm just saying it not only. I mean, yeah, from Rams fan, obviously. I just think that is a tough game to come out. Your first start, you're going to have some butterflies, and you're going against a defense that looked good Monday night. I mean, their offensive line is okay. It's like middle of the road. I don't know, man. I would, if you don't sell your Tuas right now, I would hold. I think he's going to be good. I think he's going to put up good numbers. I don't think his first game is going to be one of those games, though.
Yeah, I agree. We will see, but I'm excited. I'll be watching. You know, as a fellow left-hander, I'm excited to see another left-hander in the league because there's not another left-handed quarterback out there right now. So, I mean, I think it was Tebow as the last one. So, anyways, we've got the main part of the show. We have the interview with Ryan, Cardcollector2. Make sure you guys follow him on his Instagram. He also has some phenomenal Life of a Card Shop videos that are on his YouTube. And we have a great conversation. So, without further ado, here comes the interview with Cardcollector2.
What is going down, everyone? We are here with the famous Cardcollector2 from Instagram. He is. We're lucky to have him on the show. We're going to talk about all kinds of topics, including his card shop and some of the cards that he likes. What's going down, Ryan? How you doing?
I'm doing well. How are you?
I'm doing good, man. You know, this hobby is blowing up, man. So it's just fun to be a part of it right now.
Absolutely, yeah, definitely crazy times, but it's great. I love seeing all the attention on the hobby. It's good to get some new faces in there, and again, certainly appreciate you having me on the show.
Absolutely, man. So let's get into how you got in the hobby. I know it could be a long story, but what was the main thing that got you into this hobby?
Yeah, so I started with Pokemon right back in '99. So I remember being in 3rd grade and everybody collected Pokemon cards. They were getting stolen from school, so they banned them. So it just kind of transitioned me to sports cards. And then 2002, 2003, somebody that went to my high school was on the Ohio State National Championship team and then went pro and had cards in 2003 Sage hit. And I remember being at the mall opening a pack from a store called Cardboard Heroes. They sold mostly sports stuff, but you could get a pack or two. So I bought a couple packs and I remember pulling his card and that just kind of got me hooked. So I've been in it for quite some time now.
Nice. Now, when you guys, I kind of was in high school during the Pokemon days. I actually, if Pogs blew up, man, that would be, that would be huge for my generation. But when you guys had Pokemon back then, did you guys play Pokemon or was it more of a collecting thing back then?
Yeah, I was really, really young, so I didn't understand quite how to play the Pokemon game. So it was mostly just trading them or stealing them. That's why they got banned. I remember playing more Yu-Gi-Oh! That was the game I tried to play. Didn't really understand the whole concept of it, so I never played too much of it, but didn't end up playing a lot of Pokemon. I was still pretty young at the time.
Awesome. And you got a card shop in Grove City. Tell us how that started. It looked like it was a shop that you maybe had been in before, and then you decided, hey, this is something I want to get into. Tell us a little bit about that.
Yeah, so since I was a kid, I really wanted to own a card store. It was just kind of always my dream. I didn't expect it to happen so early, but it was last May I got a call from the owner who I've known for 15 years, and he said, hey, I'm selling. You want to buy a card store? And I didn't really take it too seriously. It was kind of in one ear out the other, and I was like, yeah, I'd love to, right? And he's like, no, really, I want to sell it. got off and, consulted, had conversation with like RBI Crew, Ryan Bannister, who
Oh
I'm
yeah,
friends with.
great guys.
Yep. And then Andy at Indie Card Exchange, right? Those are two guys I really look up to in the hobby. Had conversations with them, and it just kind of made sense, right? I mean, he had been in business for so long. It was a turnkey business. So just, he had clients that knew where it was. We closed and remodeled it, but, with my online following and then the presence he had built in the, Columbus area for 40 years, it just kind of made sense, right? I could kind of merge them and, put my own touch on it. And that's just what I did. So yeah, it happened out of nowhere. I mean, again, this was a life dream for me, right? Being able to own a card store. It sounds silly, but I was doing cards full time, but to me, it wasn't as fun just doing it over a computer, right? I like talking to people. I'm pretty extroverted, so sitting in front of a phone right all day and trading and selling on Instagram is cool, but being able to have face-to-face interaction, that made it so much more enjoyable for me. So, like I said, I didn't expect it to happen at 26, but it did, and I enjoy it so much.
With things so crazy, does he give you a call and say like, man, I sold it a couple years too early, or was he just done with it at that point anyway?
No. He ended up moving and then ended up moving back to the region and like works out of a flea market now. So it kind of was it's a very interesting topic because it was like, hey, I'm going to move out of state and, retire and, go that route. And it didn't last very long and he kind of came back. So yeah.
And now this is kind of an industry question. I don't know if anybody's going to understand it. They may, but when the purchase came about the card shop, was his allocation from distributors included? And you don't have to answer that if you don't want to.
Sure.
Did that? I mean, because that would obviously, mean a lot.
Yeah, that was the asset that I purchased for sure. The inventory, it was more like a museum, right? So like how he worked, how he operated is a deal would come in, right? Let's say it's $1,000 deal. And it was like, he only typically bought stuff he really liked or like higher end stuff he knew he could move. And he would come in, get the deal for $1,000, take 2 cards out for that are worth $50 and sell you the deal for $1,010. So he wanted to work on small margins, flipping a lot of it, but none of it ever went out in the showcases. So the showcase stuff was like stagnant. It was 2009, 2010, like there was piles of Chris Johnson rookies or Brett Favre's first base cards as a Viking. Like it never turned. So the asset that I purchased was the allocation. The location is good, but the allocation, I mean, for anyone in the industry, that's the goal.
Yeah, and I think that's key, is if you could come across a scenario of that, you guys that are listening out there, is, I mean, you may not be able to find it now, but maybe when it slows down a little bit, that might be a way to get in, because as we know, the guys that buy boxes in this industry, it is absolutely tough to get what you want at a reasonable price. So
absolutely.
So, with your shop, what do you, when you were setting it out, when you were, planning this out, what was your like main thing to set yourself apart from other shops?
Yeah. So the one thing I wanted to really do with it was I wanted to be like a one-stop shop. So my thing is like, if you came into my store and said, hey, do you have this? My goal was to never to tell you no, right? If I didn't have exactly what you wanted, some sort of variation of what you wanted, right? So this, before Pokemon was big, I knew Pokemon from when I was younger. I was like, I want to carry Pokemon. So we carry Pokemon, right? I wanted to have every supply you could have. It's only like 500 and it's like right around 600 square feet. So it's not very big. So space is a commodity there. But that was the big thing, was just being able to offer something. Like when the old owner had it, it was very tight. So the way he had the showcases up, everything you would come in and want, supplies, boxes, it was all, he had to touch it. Right? Like you couldn't go behind it. It was very transactional based. There was no space for you to walk. There was no chairs, right? I wanted to make this like an environment. Like you want to go to the card store. You want to hang out there. You want to look in boxes, look for singles, look at packs, like I wanted to offer everything. So that was really big for us, was making it more personal and of an experience rather than like, hey, come get your stuff and, there's the door.
Absolutely. You guys got to check it out on YouTube. There's a great before and after video that Ryan made of like how it looked before and how it looks now. And I mean, it's night and day. No disrespect to the old shop owner, but I think what you did is making it open, making it more friendly is absolutely key. And he's got a great singles area that I've seen that has everything labeled, so you can kind of find what you're looking for. Now, I have a hypothetical question I'm sure you get every day. How do you respond to somebody that calls you up or walks in and says, I have cards to sell, and they're from 1980?
I joked about this earlier today, but I think it might be true where I think I see more 80s stuff than I do more modern stuff.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's all the time with the recent explosion, right? I'm sure anybody in the industry now hears about it, but like, oh, I've got all these cards from when I were a kid, and it's that 1980s, early 90s. You're talking the junk wax era,
right?
And it's hard because what we were doing at first is like we can always take a look, right? We buy this card, this card, this card, but most people don't have this card, this card, or this card. Like you're not seeing a 93 Jeter foil or a Jeter Tops or, serial numbered basketball from the late 90s. Like you're not seeing that stuff. You're seeing like 91 Donruss or, junk. And the problem is like, I'd never wanted somebody to drive out of their way
right
to sell me something with the expectations that, hey, I Googled this, what is it, Jose Uribe card from 91 and it's worth $15,000. Like we get that one a lot.
Yeah.
So like, I don't like it's not fun to tell somebody, hey, these cards aren't worth $5 for this 5,000 count box.
Exactly.
But so we always just damper expectations. Like, hey, we don't buy a lot from the 80s or 90s. If you're ever in the area and you'd like to stop by, I will gladly take a look, tell you what you have and what you can do with it, right? Because that's the best thing is if you got to tell somebody no, you might as well give them an option to do something with them. Hey, put these up on Facebook Marketplace, put these up on put them up on Craigslist. These are your options. They're not worth a lot. So if you can get some money for them, this is how you would go about that.
Or maybe hold on to another 40 years. And
exactly,
maybe somebody will throw the other ones away and they'll be worth something.
We joke about it though, but like if everybody throws them away and they're not as readily available, that's the big thing.
Point. I like that. I'm gonna use that because I feel like sometimes when I tell people we're not interested, they're like thinking I'm trying to take it for less, and it's like no, I don't even want it, and it's like, well, why not? They're like 40 years old. It's like then you try to explain to them and what we know every day, but they just like, well, what do you mean? So Jose Canseco. And it's like, yeah, but it's they made a bunch of them.
So. Because that's before the internet existed, right? So you didn't know that somebody in California and Maine and Arizona and Florida had the same cards as you, right?
Right.
It's just different times.
Exactly. So, so what's hot these days? I know Pokemon probably is a big hit for you. I see you guys do a lot of videos on that. What sports card related stuff are people coming into the shop to buy these days?
So when basketball was going, basketball was the big hitter for sure. I mean, anything Zion, right? When basketball was being played, it was every single day. Hey, do you have Zion? So that has cooled down since. It seemed like the market kind of went up a lot around end of July, early August, and then has cooled down since. So recently for us, it's been football, right? Last year, before the market was where it's at now, we sold a lot of football. I'm 15 minutes from Ohio Stadium, so Ohio State's big. An hour and a half from Cincinnati. I'm 2 hours from Cleveland. Like we're near major football teams, so football's really big in Columbus. So we sell a lot of that. Other than that, I mean, we sell baseball and basketball here or there. We sell some hockey, sell some Pokemon. The one thing I will say, especially with the recent explosion in the market, is we sell a lot more singles than we ever did. That's, we're staying on top of getting them out for sale and constantly updating that stuff, but a lot more singles than we had ever sold before, as so many, fresh faces have gotten into the market.
Now, in terms of football, Mosaic obviously was a big hit, which was its introduction into football this year. What do you tell collectors that are like, should I, invest in Mosaic with Prizm and Optic coming out? How do you get that conversation? And if so, how do you handle it?
Not really. I haven't been asked specifically about that. The one thing I try to, educate consumers on, especially newer ones, is like, if your goal is to collect it, typically the first week, 2 weeks, 3 weeks that the product's out, it's going to be higher than it's going to be 3 months from now, right? Excluding the situation where, Tua is not starting versus Tua is starting now, or Chase Claypool has no good games, then he has monster games, right? Like you can't count that into the situation. But for the most part, things will cool down after a release. So if your goal is to invest in that as a long-term, investment, then your best bet is probably to wait. That's the one thing I always try to preach on that is patience, right? Like if I understand you might want a rookie autograph of this player, but if he's not going to do anything in the next 3 weeks, it might make sense because the product is really hot right now.
Yeah, just to wait it out. Yeah, I mean, and you can kind of say that with basketball too, is that like, we get collectors, when we were just breaking, regular Prizm, it was just regular Prizm every year. And then all of a sudden now you got like, fast break, you have the T-Mall versions, you have the choice versions.
Yeah.
So it's like, collectors are like, which parallel should I gravitate to? And it's really hard to say, which ones are going to be the ones down the line that are going to be worth the most. And then you look at the pop reports on the silvers, from Giannis to now, you've got 9,000 on some of the guys like Luka. So it's like, do you stick with number cards or people, so it's really hard to kind of predict where collectors are going to go maybe 5 or 10 years from now. Right. So,
and honestly, even 2 years ago, I mean, nobody was buying courtsides.
No.
Like, I mean, a Luka PSA 10 courtside silver. I mean, I had a friend buy a courtside non-silver of Luka last year for under $300. And I know the silver 10 now sells for like $21K. I mean, so market trends change a lot like that. And it's so hard to predict, right? Like not Nostradamus. It's just, collect what you like and you'll never be disappointed.
And what do you think about like the second year Lukas? You're seeing those sell for almost more than when Luka was a rookie and his first cards came out. The second year Lukas have gone crazy. I mean, is the third year Luka going to be Prizm still? It's like, where do we stop? And it's a good conversation to have in this hobby, right?
Yeah.
But what are your thoughts on stuff like that? Do you buy second year rookie card? I mean, sophomore cards, or do you kind of stay away from those?
Just in terms of like the base cards and in terms of as a long-term investment, no. If I wanted a Luka at this point, I would get the Luka card. I think the argument with the second year stuff is very similar to trends we see in the market with other things, right? The key asset or the key commodity gets so expensive, the average collector can't afford it. So we go to the second best thing, right? So you can't afford the Luka Prizm. So let's get a Luka second year, right? You can't afford a LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 9. Let's get a LeBron Topps PSA 9, right? So rather than getting a LeBron Topps Chrome PSA 6, you're like, I'll just get a Topps PSA 9. Then it that causes the market to rise there. So I'm not surprised by it per se, but in terms of like in my long-term, portfolio, the Luka, the Prizm base doesn't do it for me. Again, you mentioned numbered cards. I think that is an intriguing play there. I like the serial numbered stuff more. Maybe a Luka Blue Ice Prizm second year, team color type stuff. I think that has some potential, but the base doesn't really do it for me.
Yeah, I mean, I'm even intrigued at like the Color Blast, right? I think I seen a Color Blast LeBron going for over 12K.
Yeah,
and it worries me, and I believe, I'm wholeheartedly believe Panini is not holding anything back, but you just without a print run, it's like is that an investment? What if there's 200 of them and they just haven't been discovered? And it's like it's a crazy thing. It's like the Willy Wonka magic ticket in a sense, that you just don't have any idea about, right?
Yep. Same thing with like Tiger Stripes.
Yeah.
Like you don't know. So that's what makes the serial numbered cards so much fun is like you do know there is a certainty to that card. Whereas like Tiger Stripe, right? We've always been told it's probably out of 10, but if you can't confirm it, it's just makes it a little bit more.
Yeah, I mean, and the crazy thing is I saw your LeBron collection, which is, phenomenal. I've got a few Chromes myself, but I regret selling my refractor, but those are numbered to 500, right? So that those they're numbered. There's only 499 other ones besides the one you own. And I look at the data from that time period when we had Kobe, which Kobe was just, base and refractor, right? And then you had LeBron had the X-Fractor, the black, the gold, and the base. I might be forgetting some, but now you've got like 80 or 90 colors. So it's like, it's weird to say, well, LeBron sells for this, but he didn't have those other colors, right?
Yeah. So. And that's the thing that, especially I've seen a lot of newer collectors do is like compare LeBron to Luka or even Luka to Giannis, right? Like those aren't really fair comparisons. Like you said, the population, the amount of cards they had, right? Those are two very different arguments. There is like the population on the LeBron Topps Chrome refractor 9s and 10s is a fraction of what Luka silver 10s is, the silver 10 number for Luka is.
Right. Out of all the LeBrons that are out there, which one is the one that you're going to try to get next?
Man,
I know there's so many of them.
Yeah. I'm not sure. I would love, I'd probably want like a Bowman Chrome refractor. I have the Topps Chrome refractor and I have the SP Authentic. I'd love the Ultimate Collection rookie auto, but those are up there at the moment. I'm not sure I want that. Actually, I take this back. I want a LeBron Jordan dual auto. That's, I think, one of the next cards on my list. Is
probably $500,000 or something these days. Right?
It does have to be a rookie auto.
Yeah. Right.
Just anything of those two. I mean, from 05, 06, 06, 07, anything like that, I would be okay with. I don't want it to be college, but I would at least like to get one auto of those two.
Absolutely. And I think I saw on your Instagram you had an 03, 04 box of something, right? There's a box with LeBron on it.
Yeah, they're like top prospects. I mean, it's one of the cheaper products from that year. LeBron has a rookie auto in it, but yeah, those walked into the store the other day. But yeah, relatively cheap.
I mean, anytime you get any 03, 04, I mean, it doesn't matter what it is, right?
Yeah, so, I'm not complaining.
So are you going to break that, or is it going to be in the shop, or?
No, that's just something I just plan to throw in the safe and just keep back for a while.
Nice. I like it. We do the same. We wind up breaking too much stuff. We're like, man, we should have kept some of that stuff.
Yeah. And again, you guys can attest to it. And that's definitely one of the harder parts about owning a store is, you see so many cool things, right? And it's like the cards do pay my bills, right? So you have to be willing to sell them, but it's just some things you just want to keep. So,
I've told this story on our podcast before. It was 14-15 National Treasures was just about to come out, and Prizm at the time was nobody wanted it. I mean, we had to give it away. We were doing it for hitless packs. So in order to get with one of the distributors, in order to get more cases, I think we were only allocated a couple more 14-15 National Treasures. We had to buy 2 cases of Prizm 13-14 to get one National Treasures case, and the Prizm cases were at $20 a box. And we literally, I mean, I had 50 cases of Prizm, and I could not, I was giving it away for hitless packs for like baseball breaks, and people were complaining. They're like, why'd you give me this crap basketball? And it's like, I look back on it. I mean, I don't even want to know how much money that is now, so. But yeah, it changed. I think it was that summer with Cat, I believe, is when it went from like a $10 silver to like a $200-$300 silver, and then the rest is history on those.
Yeah, I was gonna say I remember picking up Town silvers at a show really cheap right before that popped off. That's definitely right around that time period that stuff all just went to a different level. Yeah,
there's rumors that there was like a buying group that set it up because there was like a need for Kobe, Topps Chrome, LeBron Topps Chrome. There wasn't the next, Chrome. Gotcha. And there was rumors that these guys bought like 400 or 500 of each guy. And then they, went up and they made this market value, which now I don't know if I believe that conspiracy theory because then nobody would be buying these cards. But when that first happened, people were like blown away on the, forums and on Twitter. We're like, this is manipulation because these cards were $10 and now they're $200. What's going on? So,
yeah, very different times.
Definitely different times. So it looks like you offer some grading services. Let's settle the debate. Are you doing BGS? Are you doing PSA? And if so, why?
Yeah, at the moment, just PSA. The biggest reason is the market, right? The market, exactly. Everybody wants PSA stuff, right? It just not saying, personally, I love BGS slabs. I think they look great. I love, BGS 10 pristine, like the gold bars. Those look amazing. But the market says right now we want PSA, right? PSA 10s bring a premium, a big premium. And I think the big thing for me is if there's not a distinguishable time difference between either company at this point, it makes sense to send cards to where they're going to be worth more in the end. Right. Yeah. I would love to be able to use both. Just at the moment, if the time difference is the same, it makes more sense to, get more money out of the card that's worth more. So,
I'm on the same page with you. I mean, when we started, it was like PSA vintage, BGS modern, right? That was the narrative that everybody said.
For sure.
And then it became like, well, wait a second. Now PSA 10s are double the price of the BGS 95s. I mean, obviously if you get a black label, but that's such a hard percentage to get. So it's like, my partner is BGS and I'm PSA, and I'm like, PSA. That's where I'm sending my cards from the
Yeah.
foreseeable future. Now, do you think that the pop report will get so big on PSA it may flip at some point, or?
Yeah, that's a really, really good question, right? Is we're heading towards a 20,000 pop card, right? It's coming. It's likely going to be Zion. You would assume Zion's probably the first card to break that. I'm not sure, right? A lot of the Instagram chatter I've seen is, are Beckett 9.5s underpriced, right? That like there's a pretty substantial difference between like a Zion 9.5, I think is what, 350, 375, and I think a PSA 10's 550. I mean, that's a substantial gap for cards that for the longest time, right? For those that have been in the hobby 5 years ago, those were very similar numbers. That's a pretty wide gap. So
yeah,
I'm not sure. The Luka, the Zion, a lot of these cards now have 10,000 pop, 10,000 pop counts, but there's also a lot of people. I'm not sure we really realize how many people got in the market with COVID. Is 10,000?
I know that's that's what I
like,
struggle with every day is that we say, is this going to, and it's going to lead me into my next question here. But like, is bubble going to burst, blah, 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 blah. It's like, well, we don't know how many people jumped in. I mean, we may have went from like, let's just say, I'm throwing out numbers that are obviously incorrect. I mean, we may have went from like 100,000 collectors to 5 million, you know what I mean? We just don't know. Right. So my question is if we are in the height of modern day collecting, what factors do you think can cause this bubble to burst?
Like what would cause it to burst?
Or maybe it doesn't. Maybe it's just, good for a long period of time.
Yeah. So I will be upfront that I don't think we're near a bubble bursting. I think there's things now that like, there's just the one advantage to cards now, especially versus like the 90s, right? Because we always hear the biggest argument I hear now is overproduction, right? There's a lot of sets, there's a lot of cards. That's for sure. But I think the advantage we have now in the market versus like the 90s when the bubble burst the first time is there's so many routes you can go in cards, right? You can break, you can grade, you can go with the retail arbitrage where you go to a Walmart and you wait for 3 hours and you make $500. You could, go to set up at shows. You can create a podcast. You can create, sports card investor. You could be a YouTube star. Like you could open a card store. There's so many different routes you can go. And there are serial numbered cards. I don't know. I'm pretty optimistic about the market. With so many different ways you can go and so many different things you can get into, I tend to feel pretty optimistic about the market.
So me too. I mean, you hear the rumbling, so I figured it was, to bring it up to get your point of view, and I'm on the same page with that. I think, if anything, some people will fall off, but there's so many people in that it's really not going to make a huge difference, right?
Yeah.
So
I think the concern I have about the market is, I was a little more concerned like when we had that big run up, right? So like COVID happened in March and then there's a run up, right? And until July, anything you bought pretty much turned to gold. You didn't lose money, but that's not how a business works. Like everything can't go up. And my concern was always like, I told this story. I remember last year when Big Ben got hurt his elbow, Mason Rudolph came in. I sold a Contenders red Mason Rudolph 9.510 auto on Check Out My Cards for like $900.
Jeez. Wow.
The same card sold in January for like $73.
Jeez.
My biggest concern, especially when COVID happened, was always people getting in, just rushing to the market and just throwing money at whatever they think is good, right? Whatever somebody tells them is good. And then 6 months from now, like Luka is a prime example. Luka got to $2,000 for 10s. You're like, hey, Luka's a star. He's going to be great. Let's buy 5 of them. You spend 10 grand. Those cards now are worth $5,500.
It's insane.
If you're new, 45, for us, the guys that have been in the market, that's a $700 increase on the floor from a year ago. Those were 400 as 10s. They're 1,100 now. That's a huge increase. That's great. The market is up. That's what we want. But if you're the guy that just spent 10 grand and is at $5,500 in value, you don't care what the floor was, right? Yeah. You're upset you just lost 4 grand. And I think my concern is somebody getting out because they got crushed on an investment like that.
Or like the bowl scenario, right?
Exactly.
Where you have one practice scrimmage and it's like, oh, he's the next best thing. I even feel that way with Clyde Edwards-Helaire. I mean, he had another good game.
I was just going to say that. We talked about this on the podcast I'm a co-host on, and like the first week Clyde Edwards-Helaire came out, he had that great game. His Donruss rated rookie sold for $45, and we talked about it. Like Saquon Barkley, great, right? Great rookie year. You can buy his rated rookies from Donruss for $4. Like that's going to go down. So the fact that people were paying $45 is a concern. Even like we've mentioned it before on there. It seems like a lot of the market now is based on FOMO, right? Like you don't want to miss out on the next guy, so everybody sells. Like every single quarterback sells. So it just, I think that's one thing that scares me about the market now is the FOMO aspect of it. Like Drew Lock, like we talked about this, Drew Lock, Baker Mayfield, Josh Allen, Sam Darnold, Dwayne Haskins, Gardner Minshew. Like think of all the young guys in the league that sell because of what they could be. Dwayne Haskins is the third string. Sam Darnold's on a terrible team. Danny Dimes has no weapons. Minshew's about to get benched. Like these guys sold for a lot of money, and here we are 7 weeks in, or 6, 7 weeks in, and those guys aren't sitting as pretty. And it's just like not every single person in a class is going to be very good, right? When's the last time you had 3 Hall of Famers in one class? 04? So exactly. Minshew, Haskins, Kyler, Locke, Danny Dimes, not all those guys are going to win Super Bowls. Not all those guys are going to be Hall of Famers, but they sell like they could be really, really good. And I think that's the one thing I get a little caught up in is the market sells really well for a lot of guys, and that's not how it always has been.
Yeah, and I think the perfect scenario was obviously like the record Brady sales, and then you had the Mahomes, right? So then it's like, because we always talked about football as like an investment. It wasn't there compared to baseball, and then of course basketball. But then the last few years, it's like, wait, football's catching up. These numbers, these increases are just as much as baseball, basketball. But I think it's the Mahomes effect, right? You see Mahomes cracked ices for like $70,000, and you see his base going for like 19,000 contenders base autos, or probably even more than that now. And I think that's like Minshew could Minshew be the next guy? I buy this in my mind. I'm buying it for $200, but it might be 20,000 in 3 years. And I think that. And then you're right with the all these people in the hobby. It's like, okay, well, you can't afford Kyler, you can't afford this guy, you can't. Well, Minshew I can afford, so I'm gonna spec on him and I'm gonna buy him. So, you mentioned your card podcast. Let's plug that. Let's get people over there.
Yeah. So I am on a podcast. It's called Card Talk. We release new episodes every Wednesday. Tyler, I have 2 guys on there, Tyler and Lou. They're great. It's the one thing we like about our podcast is it's got like different perspectives with it. So I'm kind of like the hobby vet per se. And then there's Lou, who's been in it for about 4 years. And then Tyler, who's, 12, 18 months into it. So just gives a different viewpoint from people that have been in the hobby for different periods of time to come and talk about, hot topics in the hobby.
So shop, Instagram, and podcast. How do you find time to do anything else?
It's a struggle. Like with grading, I started the year with, one part-time employee, and we're up to, 6 full-time employees now. So it's just a lot of different stuff happening. I love it, but with the hobby exploding, it just got a lot busier. That's for sure.
Well, one thing like I noticed is like, when I used to work a day job, I think 11 years ago now, I would watch the clock and hope for it to turn 5 to go home. Yeah. Now it's like I see, crap, it's 5. I didn't get enough done,
Yep. And I was talking with my wife about it earlier today. I'm like, we're like under 60 days till Christmas.
Yeah.
And I'm like, this is outrageous. Like, where did 2020 go?
Yeah.
So
flew.
Yeah,
it flew by.
Well, like you say, time flies when you're having fun.
Yep, exactly. Especially with the passion, I can tell with how you speak about it. It's fun and trying to navigate. I have a wife and 2 kids. It is definitely hard to allocate. We're using that word again. Allocate
I'm not there
time.
yet.
Yeah.
See, I don't know how you do it.
It's tough, to try to find time. Daddy, can you play? Was like, I gotta get this next break posted or whatnot, right? So
see, I commend you. I thought I was busy, but I know I couldn't imagine how busy you could be with having kids too. That's a real commitment. That's a challenge. So you're definitely beating me in this. I don't have anything like that yet.
Well, my wife's the superstar, and what worked out is she got furloughed from her job, and so she's able to be home for the distance learning and dealing with my 2-year-old as well. So she's the one that wants me home more to give her a break.
Yeah, sure.
Well, let's do some quick hits before we sign off. We're
Okay.
once again, thanks for giving us your time today.
Absolutely.
So these are going to be some quick hit questions. What's your favorite product at the moment to open? It could be anything.
Personally, I
Yes.
like Contenders draft picks. I'm a college guy. Again, Ohio State's my thing. So Contenders draft picks, college. I love cracked dice. So if I'm repping it for myself, Contenders draft picks.
And that's actually, I wanted to ask you that. What do you think, just to kind of go on a segue or a tangent here, what do you think about the 2021 draft class? Are you concerned, or you think there's going to be enough guys that are going to break out?
For basketball?
Yeah.
Yeah, I had a lengthy conversation in shop about this over the weekend. I actually really am optimistic about 2020, 2021 because, typically we have March Madness. Everybody watches it. It's it's probably the biggest sporting event. Like everybody watches March Madness. The first weekend of March Madness is the best weekend in sports all year. You've got games 24/7 for, Thursday, Friday, Saturday, Sunday, not 24/7, but you get the idea. And that's where you see who's really good, right? Like that's where we learn about guys, right? John Morant had some great games last year. Like you get to see those guys, and we didn't get that this year. So I think the big thing is if you didn't watch college basketball all year, you probably didn't see a lot of these guys play, right? You've got the Devi, who's the international prospect.
Yep.
We didn't see much of LaMelo Ball, because he was international. But if you're out in California and you didn't watch a lot of college basketball, do you know who Obi Toppin is? Did you watch him play at Dayton?
Right. Yeah.
So I think that
I didn't know about him until last week when I started preparing for Contenders Draft. So
exactly. Right. So if you're not a big basketball guy, if you're not watching every college basketball game, I don't think a lot of these guys are known, right? We didn't get James Wiseman a lot. There's just so much unknown.
Mm-hmm.
So to me, it just seems like it's a good opportunity because eventually one of those guys is going to produce, right? Like LaMelo Ball gets drafted by the Knicks and drops 30, his stuff is going to explode. If Anthony Edwards goes to the Warriors and the Warriors go, 22-0 to start the year when they're all healthy, his stuff's going to go up. So I think there's a lot of unknowns here, but I feel pretty optimistic about the class. But let's be super honest. It's not going to be 1920.
Right.
There's no Zion, so we're not going to get that. But do I think there could be superstars in there? Absolutely. I think there will be somebody in the class. And I think with unknown, it's a good buying opportunity because not as many people got to see these guys and, play in March Madness. So Obi Toppin being a local guy, I think he's one guy I'll probably pick up a couple cards of. And I just don't, like you said, I'm not sure guys in California saw him play a lot at Dayton.
No. Yeah.
I got to see him. So, if he's going to be a top 5 pick or is his stuff going to sell? We'll see, but I think time will tell in this class, but so much unknown.
And it might be a scenario where the hype, really precedes them and gets people to buy because we're not even going to have summer league, right? So, you're going to see maybe some exhibition games. So, remember Lonzo Ball MVP summer league, obviously even raised his value even more that year. So now there's no summer league. So, there might be some opportunities to buy some of these guys right now. If you're not buying Wiseman, Edwards, or LaMelo, you could probably buy some guys on the super cheap out of Contenders Draft, maybe cracked ice. And then it's just, wait and see whatever position they get put in, it might be kind of a fun opportunity.
Yeah. I didn't even think about summer league. That's very true. That's interesting. I forgot all about that.
Yeah, there's going to be no Vegas. So from what I understand, unless things change, they're trying to get the season going by December. Yeah. I'm assuming they're going to have maybe a couple exhibition games and then right into the season. So, so then it's going to be a question, are these guys even going to get any minutes because they're not, even groomed to be there. So it may be a scenario where these guys, their hype sells their cards for like half the year without even them playing, right?
Exactly. So, but then in the same breath, though, do we actually get to see any of them play this year?
Right. Yeah.
Right. Interesting. Yeah. I'd never thought about that.
Yeah. So that's something to keep up with. And now another question is, what's your favorite, and this could be any sport, favorite insert of the year?
Favorite insert? Probably Kaboom.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
I really like Kaboom. I'm a big fan of that. That's the first one that comes to mind. So I'll stick with that. I'll say Kaboom.
And your favorite signature from an aesthetic standpoint of an athlete from this year?
Oh, from this year?
Yeah, I guess it could be last couple years, but just one that comes to your mind is your favorite signature.
I don't know. I mean, a lot of
it could be worse signature too, if you want to.
Yeah, worse signature. Cam Reddish.
Yeah, that one's
The
that one's
line.
hard to ignore. Yeah,
The line.
The Court Kings one was just absolutely.
Yeah, I mean,
horrible.
literally just a line. But we talk about it, in shop a lot. Like, do these guys really learn cursive? I only learned cursive when I was in 3rd grade, and I don't assume they teach most guys. You don't really need it a lot anymore.
Right. Well, Admiral Schofield apparently learned cursive the day of his signing his cards.
That's
apparently.
impressive.
So, and he's
That's
actually got a
impressive.
decent looking signature.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a little busy, but it's at least it's written out and it's not a couple letters, right? So.
Who's yours?
Like favorite?
Yeah.
Man.
See, like all time, I'm gonna say like Jeter.
Jeter's is really nice.
I really like Jeter's.
Probably Sandy Koufax all time.
Yeah, that's a great one. Great auto. Griffey's is cool.
Griffey's is cool. I'm a big Barry Bonds guy, but you don't really see much Barry in anything. So probably this year. I mean, I didn't really care. I mean, Zion's wasn't bad. It was like in the middle of the road, right? I'm trying to think of basketball. Who would have been the best? I probably have to give it to Schofield because it was the most on the card. So.
Yeah, good effort.
Yeah, but
I like Tyler Heroes actually. That's a good one. Tyler Hero.
Which one? Yeah,
Tyler
actually,
Hero.
that is good. That is good.
Yeah, I'll go Tyler Hero.
And Topps had some cards. I don't know if you remember seeing on Topps
Instagram.
The
Chrome.
And they didn't. They
Whatever
kind of
happened?
didn't answer it, so they don't know. I don't know where they're going, but they have some Tyler Hero somewhere.
They haven't made any announcement on it either. I don't think.
No. We were at the summit, their conference in Arizona last year, and they said that they don't have any plans for it or anything. So who knows?
I remember they got a lot of steam in the hobby when that came out.
Yeah, everybody's
Even
like, "Oh, there's gonna be Topps basketball." Yeah, exactly.
Even unlicensed, it would still be good.
Speaking of the licensing, do you think in our hobby lifetime here that we're going to ever see the LeBron or Jordan on Panini cards? Autos?
No.
Nope.
I would love it. Sure, it would be amazing if I'm betting no.
Yeah. And one thing to keep in mind.
My understanding is Jordan has stake in Upper Deck, has like some sort of like stake in that. So my understanding is he has a vested interest in the company's success. I'm not sure how true that is, but
I've heard that too. But I've also heard from people that have worked either with him at Upper Deck or don't work there anymore that they like he kind of comes in once a year, signs like 200 things at his own leisure and bounces and say thank you. Where, like Panini would be like, here's 4,000 autographs to sign, you know what I mean? And he doesn't want to like have to deal with that. Right. So, cause Panini's going to have to get enough for their whole product line or whatever they're doing. So he kind of likes to take his time and do whatever he wants to do. So from what I've heard.
honestly, it's such a shame. It really is, especially if even if Panini had Kobe stickers left, a Kobe LeBron, like Lakers auto, like a Lakers LeBron and a Jordan Cavs dual auto, just the things we're going to not be able to ever get. It's really, really unfortunate. Like Zion LeBron dual auto, it just sucks.
Yeah, it sucks. Yeah, and then even LeBron, once he retires, we won't have any more Panini cards.
Yep.
Because of the player's license.
Yeah, I was gonna say I've always heard that rumor to be true, and I don't know it to be for sure. So I've never stated it as certain, but yeah, that's always been the rumor, right? Is like he's not in the NBA Players Association anymore. Similar to Jordan, he has an exclusive contract with Upper Deck. He retires, no more cards.
Right. And from what I understand, that's true. And I've heard, rumors that he doesn't like Rich Paul, who's his agent from Clutch, has had some bad dealings with Panini in a certain instance. So that he just doesn't like Panini, allegedly. I can't speak for sure on that. But so that to the fact that, once he's not in the Players Association anymore, you won't see any LeBron. And, I mean, you're seeing that with Kobe. I think Kobe's name's in limbo too, right? We're not getting any new Kobe cards, even just base cards.
Yeah, I never heard what happened with those. I mean, I heard that they were my understanding is like the redemption. Some of them weren't. It sounded like most of them weren't being fulfilled. Once he passed, I'm not sure. Again, I don't have any.
No, I'm saying just his image isn't being used in anything new. So I don't know if there's an estate issue, like whoever has his licensing rights now, which I'm assuming is his wife and his family. Yeah, because if you've looked, unless I'm forgetting something, I don't think any product that came out after his passing had any of his base in there, not even a base card.
Yeah, the last product I remember him being in was Prizm.
Yeah, I think that was like right around that time, and then after that, nothing else. So
interesting.
Yeah, so we'll see. Maybe they're working out some kind of deal on his licensing to get him back into Panini products. But I know guys that have retired, I think they have to negotiate to get their rights in the product. So obviously guys like Wes Unseld probably are like a bulk deal with other guys, but like Kobe's a big name. They're going to probably try to make money on him.
Yeah. It would be really nice to still have Kobe stuff in product for sure.
Absolutely. All right. So that's all the time we have. We appreciate it. We want to, so check you out at Cardcollector2 on Instagram. Also, that's the same YouTube channel as well, right?
Yep. Correct.
Cool. And when are we going to get another behind the scenes shop episode? I love those.
Probably not for a minute. We got some things in the works now, but it's just, again, you guys know it as well. It's hard, right? You don't want to, put every single detail in there with like a conversation with a customer. There's only so much you can show. So while you want to show a lot of it, there's only so much you can show. So makes it a little bit more challenging, but hopefully,
if you got somebody that's saying F Panini points, you go, I got to edit that one out. Right. So you can't,
and it's just like, I would love to be able to show it all, but unfortunately
Now, do you have somebody that edits that for you? Cause that's just really well done. Or are you doing that yourself?
No, I assure you, it's not me. I've had some great people who have flown in to film for the week.
Sweet.
So flew in, filmed kind of behind the scenes, stay in the life, did a card shop tour, that kind of thing. So
awesome.
Just producing content, but yeah, it was fun.
Nice. Yeah, it's really well done. I mean, I've watched a couple of them already, and they always pop up on my feed. So when I'm looking for something, it comes up. I'm like, oh, I'll watch that. So, well, Ryan, we appreciate your time, man. Awesome Instagram you've built, and good luck with the shop and everything else, man.
Thank you so much for having me.
Yeah, you did.
All right, sounds good. We'll talk with you later. And anytime you want to do another show, let us know. We'd be a pleasure to have you on.
Awesome. I look forward to it.
And we are back. I'd like to thank Ryan for doing an awesome interview. Make sure, once again, you follow him on Instagram. He's got some amazing content at Cardcollector2, as well as his YouTube channel, which is obviously the day of the life of the card shop is a phenomenal video as well. So I think that just about wraps it up for our show today. Do you guys have anything else to add?
No.
You were a deep thought. Like
no. I mean, I was going to talk about what I was talking about before. Let's not.
We'll save that for another episode.
Yeah,
we're gonna talk about how, and we'll get closer to Christmas. We're gonna talk about how Dan loves Christmas, how much he loves it.
That actually can be an episode just in itself.
Yeah,
I can just talk about all the things I love about it. 45 minutes of my love for Christmas.
The Christmas special, the Charlie Brown, Dan Brown Christmas special. C-Rad, are you excited to break some WNBA tonight?
Yes. I'm trying to see what it's all about.
Yeah, we actually had more people. We had people in the chat saying we want to do more today. And I was like, we didn't do enough. We didn't do enough WNBA. And then we got Phoenix coming out on Friday, guys, as well. We got some PYTs and some randoms.
Contenders baseball as well.
And Contenders baseball. And that one's a sleeper. I was actually looking at it because I think Prizm baseball came out with 3 autos a box, and it was like $200 a box. But Contenders is 6 autos, and it's $120 a box.
Great value.
So you get into a break. We're doing 6-box breaks, and it's 36 autos. So really, really, really good value for Contenders baseball. And it's going to have Luis Robert. It's going to have Bichette, and it's going to also have like legends and prospects.
It may have a Rosarena as well.
Yeah,
because he's been pretty much in everything.
Yeah.
Are they going to have that rookie that just won a World Series?
Gavin Lux. Yeah, Gavin Lux should be in there. Dustin May. I don't know.
Gavin Lux. Why are we talking about Gavin Lux?
I said the rookie that just won the World Series. I was trying to think of Gonsolin.
Who are you saying, C-Rad? What are you talking about?
Gavin Lux. That's what I was talking about.
Okay. Are you trying to...
And Gonsolin, right?
Yeah, Gonsolin.
And they have one more rookie, don't they?
Are you trying to, like, rub it in that the Dodgers won the World Series? Like, very subtle?
Yeah.
Because Doug didn't, like, play into it. He's just like, he's all, well, let me tell you everything about the rookies. And I'm like, I know what he's doing right now.
I kept it pro. Pro's
I know
pro.
what he's doing.
Yeah, I mean, that asterisk, World Series championship.
And the last
Kershaw's
time,
not a choke anymore, right?
But do you remember the last time the Dodgers won the World Series?
I don't.
You don't?
32 years ago against the A's.
Just a lot of this.
I don't remember that.
A lot of Dennis Eckersley. It's very sad. It was 88. I remember it like it was yesterday.
I mean, what I got to say to Dodgers fans, it's about time. What was it? 6 straight division championships, 3 World Series, and finally you did it. I think Kershaw performs best when there's either 0 fans or 25% fans. If you put all the fans there, I don't know. In a World Series game, he might not be able to perform.
I don't want to put an asterisk on it because I don't like asterisks. I'm a Barry Bonds fan, and I think it's used too much. But shouldn't the Dodgers get a trophy that's 1/3 the size?
Yeah, I mean, they had to play more playoff games than they normally would, so I guess you can give them that.
But it should be like, instead of being a big-ass trophy, it should be like that big.
See, it's funny. It's funny because I mentioned at the beginning of the season, and it was geared at, it was old podcast. Well, not old, but like 4 months ago. It was geared towards the NBA and the MLB that I said we as fans could not put an asterisk on this championship, and then the Dodgers win.
Yeah.
And I as a Giants fan, you it's just, that is the rival. That is the hated team.
I am happy for Kershaw. I'm happy Kershaw got it. I'm happy Dave Roberts was able to get it.
He tried to lose it
and not get fired. I think that I think he was on the hot seat. I think he was one of those guys that if he did not perform this year, they may have gotten rid of him.
Yeah, and he former Giant, so I guess you got to be happy for him.
But yeah, I mean, wanted the Rays. I didn't really know who I was going for until Game 4, and then I was all Rays. With that last play of the game, one of the craziest things I've ever seen in any World Series game. After that, I was like, let's go Rays. But it didn't happen. It was a good. It was a good. It was a good World Series. Got to give the Rays credit for having, an $80 million payroll. Dodgers well over $200 million payroll.
I think $80 million was Mookie Betts, right? So it was just one guy in the whole team.
Just one guy.
Much.
That's how they should have played it. It should have been the whole squad against Mookie Betts.
Mookie Betts at center field, left field.
No,
like Bugs Bunny,
pitching, catching, doing it all. But you know what? He pretty much did it all last game. So he came up in the clutch. I don't mind paying a guy $80 million. If you win championships.
And it's funny, before we go, I know we have a break coming up. Actually, we got about 7 minutes, but what I've heard around the sports world was that all the ratings are down from the prior years. Actually, this World Series was the lowest Nielsen counts that they've ever had in any World Series. But if you look at it compared to any other live event, it still has more viewers than any other live event that has been going on. So I don't know. It's like the Nielsen ratings. I don't think you can really, in the era of people being able to watch YouTube videos, people able to play video games a lot easier. There's 500 channels. It's kind of hard to compare it to 1980 when there was like 15 channels and literally like you were either going to watch MASH or you're going to watch the World Series. You know what I'm saying? It's unfair, and especially these people that maybe hate that sport, like what they did with the NBA. Oh, the NBA, look at their lowest ratings ever. Blah blah blah. It's like, there's so many more options of things to watch, and I don't know if you're watching it on your phone, if you're watching on your tablet, or you're watching on your TV, you get the same Nielsen ratings. So somebody maybe that's smart can explain that to me. But yeah, I just thought that people were trying to spin it in a negative fashion. Still, there was I think 12 million people that were watching those World Series games on average. That's a lot.
And speaking of MASH, got to be one of the greatest sitcom songs, right? Intro song, one of the most historic, most widely known. That Taxi. Doug's like trying to think about like what is the jingle to MASH.
Yeah,
you don't know?
No, sing it for me.
No, I'm not going to sing it. You can't sing it. There's no lyrics. It's like
it had the copter, right?
It had the helicopter in it. Yeah, there was more to it.
I remember that.
And then you had Taxi. Taxi was just the beast.
That was Tony Danza, right?
Beast of a theme song. Yeah, Christopher Lloyd, Tony Danza.
I mean, I'm
Danny
3. I don't have a
DeVito.
photographic memory at that time when I was 3. I'm not 3 now. I mean, I'm 3.
But that's actually theme songs for sitcoms. That's an episode that we should get into.
What's your favorite theme song from a sitcom, C-Rad?
It's the cliche one. It's either Family Matters or Full House or even something as corny as like Saved by the Bell. That theme song was
Beverly
really
Hills 90210.
Beverly Hills 90210 was a good one. Yeah.
Friends, right?
That stayed in your head for sure.
Yeah.
Friends was like was that the mid-late 90s, right?
Yeah, but that band pretty much probably was just retired off the royalties.
Millionaires.
Off that song.
Big Bang Theory. That's
Bare Naked Ladies.
Yep. But yeah, there's a lot. Full House. It's a good one. It's a good one.
Yeah, in another lifetime, because I'm obviously I'm a huge music person too. So in another lifetime, I would have been like a jingle writer.
A jingle writer. Yeah,
That'd be a fun job.
but we could still do that.
Yeah, we
Like
can.
Mojobreak needs jingles, and we should be writing jingles
We should.
instead
We
of
could have segment jingles.
every break should have a jingle. We should be we should get in the jingle business.
You know what one of my favorite one was America's Funniest Home Videos with a red, white, and blue. Funny things you do. That was a good
Yeah.
one. Now they just play like an instrumental version of it.
Yeah, I love that one, bro.
Yeah, yeah. Well, then you got Bob Saget.
Is that still
and-
on?
Yeah, they
It's still
have. They had Carlton hosting.
I mean,
think, for a while,
that
right?
truly is like the beginning, and that's well before Ouch My Balls for Idiocracy fame.
Yeah.
But that is essentially what it is. It's just people getting hit in the nuts.
Yeah.
And that would like bring a smile to you no matter what. The only problem I always
It's
had with
timeless.
America Funniest Home Videos was that the ones they picked for like the 3 were never the funniest ones. Like the one that would win like the $20,000 for the show, it was like, dude, there was like the one where the guy fell on his balls. It was funnier than the you know.
Well, that's subjective.
It could
There's
be. but-
it's always somebody like something's falling on somebody's head, or they're like slipping and
I was
falling,
just about to say
or like a
slipping.
cat or a dog doing
but
something
it's
funny.
never anything like totally gruesome. Like,
Right. Yeah, you don't.
you never see somebody like get their leg ripped off, or they snap
Ooh.
their leg in
Hope he's
half.
okay.
Ooh.
No, you don't see it though. Like they must. I mean, I've heard Bob Saget talk about it, and he said some of the stuff that people would
Get
send
in.
in. They'd be like, we can't use that. That's,
They do the uncensored version.
and you know, if Bob Saget's not going to use it, like it must be pretty bad.
Yep. Yep.
Well, all right, that's all we got for the show. Make sure you follow us at Mojobreak_com on Twitter for our breaks, Mojobreak M on Twitter for our content and the hype, as well as Mojobreak.com for any of your breaks. We are live 7 days a week where all of our breaks are scheduled and guaranteed to fill. So you can go right on our website and see when things are breaking, what spots are available. Makes it very easy rather than paying a breaker, sitting there, and waiting for the break to fill for weeks. So it doesn't happen here at Mojobreak.com. So, and we're doing all varieties. C-Rad's got how many box mixer on Friday? 50 box basketball banger, all high, mostly all high end. I mean, there's like 1920 or 1819 Prizm in there, right?
Yep.
So
Prizm
1819 hobby. There's a hobby box.
There's not a lot of breakers out there that have 50 boxes of basketball laying around.
That's a good point
Luka.
as well.
That's
Nice.
the only ones I usually have.
Always.
Luka, maybe a black gold Luka. Could you imagine?
Oh, man.
1718 Flawless is in there. I mean, it's an insane break. A 1920 NT.
Mm-hmm.
So spots are already moving. So get in on that. It's called the Halloween NBA Mixer, and it's at Friday at 8 p.m. So jump in on that.
C-Rad's birthday over the weekend as well.
That's right.
Turns
So
22 years
That's
old.
why I did it on Friday instead of Saturday, because like I would love to do a 50 box mix for you guys on my birthday, but I got some kids at home that probably want to see me on my birthday, so I was like,
and see you on Halloween too. So you have a double
C-Rad
dose.
turning 22.
yep,
Yeah.
forever young.
Next year is your Michael Jordan
Forever
year.
young.
All right, guys. So we'll see you. Stay tuned for the breaks coming up here shortly, and we'll catch you next week on the hype. Peace.